All right, y'all. First and foremost, give all praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son Hamashiach Yahushua. Just want to share something, man. We're gonna try to get some understanding of the original context of Revelations 2 and 9, Revelations 3 and 9. We can glean from John chapter 8. All right, when it says I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not. You see this kind of same kind of language here, with Christ speaking with some Jews here. We start at John 8. I want to say 33. Let's start at 31. It says, Then Jesus said to those Jews which believed on him, If you continue in my word, then ye are my disciples indeed. Okay, you continue in my word, you are my disciples. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Then they answered him, We are Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou ye shall be made free? It says, Jesus answered them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant to sin, is a slave to sin. And the servant abideth not in the house forever, but the Son abideth forever. Abideth ever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. I know, watch this now, I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but ye seek to kill me because my word have no place in you. I speak that which I have seen with my father, and ye do that which ye have seen with your father. All right, difference. I know that you're Abraham's seed, but we got two different fathers. I'm speaking something. You don't. My words have no place in your heart because you're not of my father. You have a different father. Okay, and we see this thing is kind of spiritual. Those folks that were in Revelations 2 and 9, those were Jews, but they weren't Jews. Just like these people are Abraham's seed, but they're not Abraham's seed. Why? Because they don't believe on Christ. They don't believe the things that he's saying, even though these things are coming from the Father. And Abraham would never do that. It says, they answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Jesus said unto them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. You would have those attributes. You would do the things that Abraham's did. But now you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth, which I have heard of God. This did Abraham. This did not Abraham. Okay. They did not seek to kill a man that came with truth. Abraham wouldn't do anything like that. You do the deeds of your father. Then said they to him, We be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God. That is God. Jesus said unto them, If God were your Father, ye would love me, for I proceed forth and come from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my word. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. Again, you are Abraham's seed. You know that you have the same father, but because you're obedient, because you're not doing the works of Abraham, because you're disobedient to God's word, because you don't believe in who God sent, you're not Abraham's seed. You're not of the Father, the true God of this universe, true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because you're not doing those deeds. You're doing the deed of your father, who is the devil. Okay? Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. Because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and a father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. Which of you convinces me of sin? Which of you can prove that I'm in sin? And if I say the truth, why do you not believe me? He that is of God hear God's words. Again, those that are of God hear God's words. All right. And again, it's more spiritual. It's not physical. All right. These people are Jews that he's speaking to. These people, Father, aren't really the devil. But because they're doing the works of Satan, that's their father. Because you are not of God. Verse 48 says, Then answered the Jews and said unto him, say we not well that thou art a Samaritan? Again, this is an insult. This is an insult. So we said it well when we called you a darn Samaritan. Say not we well. You ain't nothing but a darn Samaritan. It has a devil. You a devil. You a demon. You a Samaritan with a demon on you. You know, you ain't nothing but trash, man. Who, you know, and this tells you this gives you the feeling and how Jews felt about Samaritans. Jesus answered, I have not a devil, but I honor my Father, and ye do dishonor me. And I seek not my own glory. There is one that seeketh and judgeth. Verily, verily, I say unto you, if any man keep my sayings, he shall never see death. Then said the Jews unto him, now we know that he hath. Abraham is dead, and the prophets, and thou sayest, if a man keep my saying, he will never taste death. Art thou greater than our father Abraham, which is dead, and the prophets are dead? Whom makest thou? Who makest thou thyself? Who do you think you are? Jesus answered and said, if I honor myself, my honor is nothing. If it is my Father that honoreth me, of whom ye say that he is your God. Yet ye have not known him, but I know him. And if I should say I know him not, I shall be a liar like unto you. But I know him and keep his saying. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see. And so we kind of see, we can kind of glean here from the methodology. We can kind of glean the methodology and say, hey, you know, those who are Jews that are not are really just Jews that are doing the works of Satan. All right, they're of their father the devil because they're doing the work of the devil. Okay, and that's in a great persecution that's going on. Let's go to Revelations 2:9 and read this real quick. Revelations 2. We'll start here, verse 8, and it says, and you got to understand that he's writing, John of Patmos is writing to these 7 churches. Where are the 7 churches located? Look where they're located here. All right, and the island of Patmos is off this coast here. You got Macedonia here, Greece here, Corinth over here. Let's see if we got another map, a better map here. But you see these 7 churches here in Asia Minor. All right, come on down here. You got Nazareth, Jerusalem, Bethlehem. Over some, let me see if that kind of shows it here. Jerusalem down here. All right. But it's a reason why he's writing here, because there's a great persecution that's going on at this particular time. And what is this particular time? What is the time of John and him being sent to this pretty much prison? This is like a ancient what's that prison out there in New York, man, a famous prison that's out there on its own little island. Forget what it's called. But this is like an ancient day. Patmos is like a ancient that. Well, let's verse 8. It says, and so he's writing to these 7 churches here. And unto the angel of the church of Smyrna write, these things saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. So we know that there are some works going on, and there is some tribulation and some poverty that these people are facing. And I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. What is the tribulation for 10 days? Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. Okay? But you're going to have to deal with this tribulation. And this is a tribulation of 10 days. Some of you will be cast into prison because of this heavy persecution. This is going on. This is an imminent danger. This is going on at this time. They're reading this letter. That this letter is being sent out. And so, there's a works and the tribulations that this church is going through. And we see the same language again. I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews. We know those that say they are Jews, but they are not. But they are the synagogue of Satan. Does Satan have a synagogue? Are we really just saying Satan has his own synagogue? No, it's just something spiritual. They're doing the works of Satan. And so with them doing the works of Satan, they're being called the synagogue of Satan. But these are Jews. These people are identified as Jews. They're not that. They're something else. All right. Or they could be, it could be Romans. But again, we just want to know the original context before we use it as spiritualize it as people who really aren't Jews that are pretending to be Jews today. So let's talk about these seven churches and persecution that they were dealing with. It's talking about those 10 days in Revelations 2:9. Right, 10 great Roman persecutions of Christians. You see here between 64 AD and 311 AD. A lot of us, we stopped looking at the 70 AD, that thinking that, hey man, everybody's gone and we went into slavery. 70 AD, even though we don't count that slavery, whatever that slavery was in 70 AD, we don't count it really. We don't count the Islamic slave trade, but that's another conversation. But let's look here a little bit. Roman persecution of Christians began in the reign of Emperor Nero in AD 64 and continued about 250 years into the recognition of Christianity by Constantine in 313. The Romans rejected Christians as an eyesore who believed in God only and did not yield to idolatry and emperor worship. Emperors considered Christianity illegal and severely suppressed it on the excuse of unifying the empire and making it prosper under the protection of gods. Called the Roman persecution of Christians in the early days of apostolic age, Christianity was persecuted by the Jews, initially by the Jews, who did not recognize Jesus as the Christ. Okay, we just talked about that, and them being called of their father the devil or the synagogue of Satan, not recognizing Jesus as the Christ. So later, as Christianity spread not only to Jerusalem, but also Asia Minor and Rome, it was suppressed by the Roman Empire. And this is why I'm saying, when you look at this map here, you see where this thing is at. Here, you look at this map here, you see where Jerusalem is down here. Island of Patmos, this is where John is right here. Church of Smyrna, it's right here. No, right here. Right here. All right. And then the other churches. But you see these churches in this particular area suffering a certain persecution by Romans. Corinth is over here. Macedonia. Anyway, having a certain persecution that they're facing here, especially under Nero's circus, something called Nero's circus. But let's just jump down here to some of the persecutions. I don't have to go through all that. It says Nero persecution 64 to 68. Persecuted Christians by appointing them as arsonists of the great fire of Rome. Executed Christians as food for beasts or torches to light up the outdoor party venues. That's where they get their Roman candles from. They were actually lighting Christians on fire, burning them in the streets, burning them to light up party venues. They're having a party while, Christians are on fire. Most of the persecutions took place within the city of Rome, and that persecution mostly took place within Rome. Domitian's persecution from 90 to 96, oppressed under the accusation that all gods. You see here, you have a little gap here. All right, so you had the Jewish Roman wars, and then once they finished with that, They came back, but again, we didn't really go too far because you had the Bar Kokhba revolt. You had the infamous Sakari group that was out here doing. So there was still millions of Jews around these areas. Still millions even in Alexandria, Egypt. But we'll get into that history another time. It says Domitian, oppressed under the accusations that all gods were angry because of Christians, attacked the non-Roman religions, and even those who are even those who are sympathized with them on the charge of treason, exile. Apostle John to the island of Patmos. Domitian is the one who exiled him, and I think that date is around 95 A.D. All right, so we get in Revelations, after that. But he ruled between 90 and 96, and he exiled John to Patmos in 95. All right, we saying we all gone. So we gotta start making these things harmonize, some of this history harmonize, and see where these sources coming from, and double check these things, and definitely check what even what I'm reading now. We need to see if we can get some things that agree with this, or see where they're pulling this information from, or do they have documents to show that Nero reigned this period. I'm sure there is. I'm sure the Romans do have a log of their emperors and so forth, especially other. If we got a log of we got a book of kings. I'm sure the Romans got a list of emperors from AD period. Anyway, Trajan's persecuted Christians as felons for, and see, then I forgot here too on the Domitian, Christians worship in underground tombs, catacombs to escape persecution. They kind of went underground with him. Persecuted Christians as felons for refusing to worship Emperor Ignatius, the bishop of the church of Antioch, was martyred. Hadrian's persecution set up statues of the emperor and other statues and forced to worship them. If Christians refused, they were executed. Even those who protected Christians were punished. Marcus Aurelius persecuted Christians by blaming them for all natural disasters such as pestilence, famine, and drought. Any natural disaster happened, they blamed it on the Christians because they would not worship the emperor, they would not worship the other gods. Gave the corpses of Christians as food for hungry dogs. Septimius Severus persecution forced the Christians to worship the sun god and prohibited conversion to Christianity. Proclaimed a decree stating that the conversion to Christianity is punishable by death. Maximus persecution persecuted Christians for supporting the ex-emperor who was assassinated. Executed the Christian clergy. Decius issued an edict to spread persecution throughout the Roman Empire, commanded all citizens to worship the Roman gods, and those who disobeyed were executed for refusing to obey the edict. Conciliated the Christians to become apostates in order to eradicate Christianity. Martyrs and apostates occurred the most during this particular period. Valerian's persecution prohibited Christians' gatherings and confiscated their land and properties, executed the clergy, and exiled them. Diocletian's persecution, the worst persecution that deprived the Christians of all their rights, declared the 4 edicts against Christianity, forced the Christian soldiers to forsake their faith and executed them if they disobeyed, destroyed church buildings, burned the Bible, banned worship, and expelled the Christians from public office. And that was at 303 to 311, and Constantine comes in at 313. Although Roman Empire and this is what they talking about. They, you have some commentators that'll say, well, just 10 days of tribulation I don't know if anyone has come up with a record of that during that particular time where they're thrown in these prisons, but they use these 10 days and they'll correlate the 10 persecutions to the 10 days in Revelations 2 and 9. It can seem a little reachy, but maybe it was just 10 days during that particular time, and then you can, okay, well, evidently, there's these 10 persecutions that happen within Rome, and that you can correlate it to that, but it's a little reachy. But this is what we do. This is what we do with the text, man. And everybody feels the text. They're in the last days of the text, and so whatever events happen, they're gonna correlate those events to try to fill in some of these gaps, some of these things we really don't know. Text says you will be persecuted for 10 days. 10 days meaning 10 persecutions, but I'm not mad at it. Not mad at it. And we need to know this history. All right, this history needs to be known. Although the Roman Empire persecuted Christianity for a long time, it could not break the faith of Christians. Christians preached the gospel without fear or hesitation, even though they were burned at the stake, eaten by wild beasts in the amphitheaters, killed by terrible torture. All right, they're faithful. It's like the myrrh tree that emits a more beautiful fragrance when it's cut. Despite severe persecution, the number of Christians increased and the gospel spread more vigorously throughout the Roman Empire and the entire Mediterranean coast. All right, so let's digging into the original context of this thing. And then when you have the original context, it's best that you know that first. And even this is gonna correlate to the church in Revelations 3 and 9. All right, these are letters written to these churches because these churches were in imminent danger, suffering persecution. And we know that because we know John has been sent off to Dorm Patmos. He's pretty much writing these letters from some camp or prison, but I pray this thing was edifying. Y'all look into these things, look into the matter. But I just want to give the original context. That is really, there are Jews. It wasn't that it's Jews pretending to be Jews. They were Jews, but they weren't Jews because they didn't do the will of the Father. They did the will of their father, who was of the devil, murderers and liars from the beginning. And they end up being called the synagogue of Satan because they didn't believe that Yahweh Jesus was the Christ. I yield with that. Shalom.